This is Hannibal and my lovable dog Piper, the official mascot of the Hannibal TV, with a daily wrestling news update for you. Raw followed up a 0.38 rating on SmackDown with the 0.38 rating for Raw. I guess that's worse for SmackDown because SmackDown is on Fox, which is a bigger network than the USA network, but they can't be happy about being in the 0.3s. I remember during the pandemic when the ratings were in the 0.4s overall, and people were saying that's low. Well, now the crowds are back and the ratings are still going down. So that's pretty bad. As Piper's walking around here, I'm going to help her. In other news, Drew McIntyre further hinted that he could be having a match against Tyson Fury, telling Sports Illustrated, quote, "If Tyson Fury steps back in the WWE ring, it's not going to be as easy as he thinks. He showed last time in his match against Braun that he's capable, and no doubt he's an entertainer." Well, as I said, I watched that match because I am a Tyson Fury fan, and if you call that capable as a wrestler, I've seen a lot of matches, and that was one of the worst matches I've ever seen. And you fans could put in the comments what you thought of it if you were one of the people that saw that match in Saudi Arabia. I'm not saying if Fury didn't train, he could be better, but that match against Braun Strowman was just like seriously one of the worst matches I ever saw. And I don't hate Tyson Fury at all. For the people that say, "Oh, Hannibal, you're so negative," well, I'm just calling it as I see it. Do you want me to act like a 0.38 rating is good? In other news, it looks like Stu Grayson, who used to wrestle for Great North Wrestling, is not being re-signed with AEW, along with guys like Marco Stunt, Jack Evans, and Joey Janela. I'm surprised that they would keep Evil Uno on, to be honest with you, because that's another guy that wasn't really over. But I find it funny that I guess Stu Grayson put out a video, which it was with the Dark Order and making it seem like he doesn't want to just sit around and eat catering. And I hope he has a WWE job lined up, because you will find that traveling around and being paid to sit around eating catering is way better than a normal job. Way, way better, because, you still get to be on TV sometimes. You still get the paychecks. In AEW, you only wrestle once or twice a week, and you're making good money and you get paid to eat catering. Have you ever worked at a sawmill? I've worked in a sawmill. I've bounced. I've worked in a magazine warehouse. I've done landscaping. I know what hard labor is. So I'll be perfectly honest. Please give me I've taken it jobs as an extra on various TV and movies where you just basically sit around and eat catering and be a background actor. And I doubt I was making as much as he was making in AEW. So I find a lot of these wrestlers are spoiled, the ones that whine and complain about how tough it is to be a pro wrestler in a big company. Because I don't recall that guy being like a big name on the independent scene before he was hired by AEW. The match that he had for Great North Wrestling was funded by a French television company that was doing a documentary on Great North Wrestling, and they needed French wrestlers to be in the documentary, and he happened to be a French wrestler. Anyways, stay positive, everybody. I am doing great. I had a great interview with Dan Profit earlier tonight, the inventor of the ladder match, and yesterday with Ross Hart, which is Ross Hart one's been getting a lot of views. And then the week before, David Schultz. So there's been a big Stampede Wrestling theme lately with the Hannibal TV. Carmen says wrestling is dead. Well, there can be some good forms of wrestling. We'll see. I'm definitely going to try my best September 3rd. It's looking like we're probably going to do a double shot. I think we're going to film 2 shows in one day, September 3rd in Petawawa, Ontario, since Great North Wrestling is the most popular YouTube company in Canada. We are the best known worldwide company out of Canada because the Hannibal TV is by far the number one YouTube channel based in Canada for pro wrestling, without question. No one comes close. So I think I'm going to do 2 events to get double the matches on tape for you guys. Scary Harry Flanagan doesn't believe wrestling is going to get better. Get Billy Jack on soon. I'm going to try. He's been answering texts to me, but he doesn't answer his calls. Paulie says, we need me back in WWE. I don't think. I only had 2 matches for WWE. And when I was given my contract, when I probably would have been brought in with a gimmick and a push, I never got that chance. So, and my ship has sailed. My best thing that I can do is keep wrestling going through my YouTube channel and my events here and there, and try and get an alternative out there. Because remember when AEW said they were going to be an alternative to WWE? In the end, it's worse than WWE for being spot fest and using smaller wrestlers. Do they use blood more than WWE? Yeah, I guess they're old school that way, but they didn't end up being that old school. And quite frankly, Tony Khan made a big mistake letting Cody go, because it seems like AEW lost a huge amount of momentum from letting Cody go. Somebody checking in, TNT Pro Wrestling Booking Agency. They can't wait for my movie. I'm excited about it too. We're doing the casting right now. Heidenreich crying. I do have an interview with Heidenreich. If you search Heidenreich, the Hannibal TV. And I did wrestle him in WWE, by the way. And I did, for everyone that says wrestling's fake, when he hit me with his clothesline, I saw stars. I literally saw stars. I remember 2 things from that clothesline: seeing stars, and I think there was something like 14,000 people in Edmonton from that match. And the crowd popped really, really loud when he also hit me with that clothesline. So I got like an electric jolt up my spine from the crowd popping so loud. At that point, he was over as a babyface, at least in Edmonton. Jason, my day was fantastic. I had a great workout today and had some other great things that I'm not going to talk about because there's certain things I'm not going to curse by talking about on here. Am I watching hockey? I'm just a poser wearing this Montreal Canadiens hat. To be frank with you, Montreal is my favorite city in Canada. So if I had to choose a hockey team, I would choose Montreal just because Montreal is my favorite city. Toronto is my least favorite city. And Ottawa, as I said, I've did security for the Senators for years and years and years. And every time they made the playoffs, they blew it, but I still had to deal with all the problems in the arena. So I kind of held it against the Senators. TNT Pro Wrestling, my movie is going ahead. We're getting it together. The script's done. There's still going to probably be some final adjustments on the script, but we're casting it right now. Jason, I've tried to get Jesse. I think I'm going to have to meet him in person because I had an agent that agreed to a deal with Jesse that I could barely afford. It would have been a stretch to afford it. And then I came to an agreement with them. I announced it, and then it had big reaction. And then the day after I announced it, this quote unquote agent of Jesse's tried to change the deal. I couldn't afford the first deal. And then when they changed the deal, which people that change deals are scumbags, in my opinion. I never change deals. Those people that do that are low forms of life. So it got called off because I simply could not afford the second deal. And also, I thought they were pieces of shit for changing the deal. I see. Well, the difference between AEW and WCW is WCW was not owned by like the son of Ted Turner, who was a huge wrestling fan, where AEW, I mean, Tony Khan, the senior, Shad Khan, or whatever his name is, he's worth like $14 billion. And AEW is just a tax write-off to him. He's a multi-billionaire. So there's a personal connection to it, where with WCW, Ted Turner may have had a personal connection, but then he lost controlling interest in Time Warner. I think AOL took over or something. And then AOL didn't want it because it was losing tons of money at that point. But with AEW, this is the kid's toy. If I was a multi-billionaire and my kid liked baseball, sure, I'd buy him a baseball team, whether it made money or not, because I could write it off because it's just a tax write-off and I'm a billionaire. Ivan Santos, NXT is a comedy show. I can't stand NXT. Danny says he's better than you. I don't know who you're talking about, but I appreciate you clicking on my video and watching it and helping support me by watching me, even though you don't like me, because you're helping me pay my bills. So thank you. Stan Hansen S. Clothesline from Heidenreich, yeah. Barry, am I a fan of Asuka? I'm not very familiar with her. Ryan, maybe one day for John Cena. Paid programming, I interviewed Bob Backlund not too long ago. He's an unusual man, but I like him overall. Scary Harry Flanagan, I'm not drinking, or I do have, I took all my THC drops. I still do have some THC vape left, but because of my movie, which we've been talking about, and like I'm getting in really good shape for the movie, I'm not buying any more THC products until after my movie's done shooting. And I'm not drinking alcohol until at least after my movie's done shooting, because I'm really putting a high priority on my training right now. People give me weed all the time. If somebody gives me weed, sure, I'll take it, but I'm not actually buying any. Barry, sorry, I clicked on something else. Shao Kahn, yeah, sorry, I don't know what the hell it is. David, I just answered the Billy Jack. He's been talking to me lately. David, Piper's right beside me. She's on the start of this video. Scary says good choice. Yeah, because the thing about weed, although it's way better for you than alcohol, 100 times better for you than alcohol as far as side effects, it can make you hungry. So when you're trying to diet down, one thing about weed is, like, if I wake up to take a piss and I've been taking weed, where normally I would just take a piss and go back to bed, if I've consumed weed, I'll take a piss and then go and eat for 5 to 10 minutes, then go back to bed. So it's not the best for dieting. Jake, as I just said, like, AEW is owned by a multi-billionaire, and this is his kid's toy project. It is good for wrestlers. It gets wrestlers pay up there, but I think it's lost the shine to it at this point. Anyways, follow us on Facebook at the Hannibal TV. About 70,000 followers now on Facebook. And we are also on Instagram at the Hannibal TV and Twitter at the Hannibal TV. And Mike, oh my God, I would never interview that dweeb. And on this note, I'm going to call it a night. Have a great evening.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please help me out and like this video, then click the subscribe and get notifications buttons so you don't miss any of my latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Follow us on Facebook at the Hannibal TV for more live streams and videos. And while you're at it, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Hannibal TV.